sometimes it's easier to understand how we create robots and driverless cars than it is to understand how we create our reality. In fact, many people have this notion that someone else is creating our reality. Who might that be? Now is probably a very good time to understand that you create your reality. Yes, you are creating what is unfolding in every moment of your life by the choices you are making day after day after day.
There's a reason why so many ancient teachings, mystical traditions, and even modern spiritual movements have been suppressed, distorted, or buried under layers of misinformation. The truth about co-creating reality isn't just an abstract idea, it's a force. A power so immense that if fully understood, it would shatter the illusion that we are mere spectators in life, subject to random circumstances. This is knowledge that has been hidden in plain sight, whispered through the pages of sacred texts, encoded in myths, and passed down in secret by those who understood its potential. Grasp the reality of co-creation. The moment you begin to grasp the reality of co-creation, everything changes. The walls of limitation start to crumble, the illusions of powerlessness dissolve. But to truly see, you must first unlearn what you've been told, because the world does not want you to know how much control you actually have. It does not benefit from you waking up to your ability to shape the reality around you. It thrives on your doubt, your fear, and your belief that you are small. Think about the stories we've been given about the nature of life. We are told that things simply happen to us, that destiny is fixed, and that our dreams are just fantasies floating in a distant realm. But what if those ideas were planted to keep us blind to a deeper truth? What if every thought, every emotion, every belief you hold is sculpting the world around you in ways more profound than you have ever imagined? Ancient wisdom traditions have long taught that reality is not something we simply exist within. It is something we are constantly weaving. The Hindu concept of Maya speaks to this, describing the world as an illusion that is shaped by our perception. The Hermetic teachings of ancient Egypt tell us that all is mind, meaning that the external world is a reflection of the internal. Even in quantum physics, the observer effect suggests that reality shifts based on consciousness itself. But this isn't just about philosophy or science. This is about what you experience every day. The way certain patterns keep repeating in your life, the way your fears seem to materialize when you give them too much energy, the way people who radiate confidence seem to bend the world in their favor. These are not coincidences. They are glimpses of a hidden mechanism at work, one that you can learn to master. To understand co-creation, you have to start seeing reality differently. You are not just a single being moving through time and space. You are an extension of something greater, a field of energy that is in constant motion, attracting, repelling, shaping. Your thoughts are not confined to your mind. They ripple out into the fabric of existence, carrying instructions, and the world responds accordingly. But here's where most people get stuck. They believe that thinking positively, repeating affirmations, or making vision boards is enough. They do these things hoping for change, but deep down their subconscious mind is still programmed by doubt, fear, and old conditioning. And so, they wonder why nothing shifts. The truth is, co-creating reality isn't just about what you think, it's about what you are, your energy, your state of being, your alignment with what you seek. That is what dictates the results. This is why someone can say all the right affirmations yet see no change, while another person who simply knows their reality will shift watches miracles unfold. The difference is in the depth of belief, in the full-body understanding that reality is not happening to you, but through you. Religious and spiritual traditions have always hinted at this power. In the Bible, Jesus spoke of faith that can move mountains. In Buddhism, there is the idea that attachment to illusion creates suffering, but awareness brings liberation. In Taoism, there is the understanding that to be in harmony with the Tao, the natural flow of existence, is to allow life to unfold effortlessly. These teachings all point to the same fundamental truth. The external world is a mirror of the internal. If you've ever had moments where things seem to align perfectly, where opportunities, people, or experiences showed up exactly when you needed them, you've already touched the edge of this truth. It was not luck. It was you stepping into alignment with the flow of reality. But what happens when the opposite occurs? When everything seems to go wrong? When obstacles arise? When things feel stuck? This is where most people give up. They assume that they've failed, that the universe is against them, that co-creation doesn't work. But this is exactly where the real work begins, because obstacles are not signs to stop. They are signs to shift. They show us where our own energy is in resistance, where old patterns still hold power over us, and here we have yet to fully believe in the reality we are creating. The biggest secret of co-creating reality is this. It is not about controlling every little thing. It is about becoming what you seek. The more you embody the energy of the life you want, the more the external world begins to reflect that frequency back to you. But if this is so powerful, why isn't everyone doing it? Why does society seem designed to keep us disconnected from this truth? Because a world full of conscious co-creators is a world that cannot be controlled. It is a world where people step out of fear, out of scarcity, out of manipulation. It is a world where the systems that thrive on disempowerment begin to crumble. That is why this knowledge has been hidden, dismissed, and even ridiculed. Not because it is false, but because it is dangerous to those who benefit from people believing they are powerless. But once you see it, once you feel it, you cannot go back. The journey of co-creation is not about wishing for a better life. It is about stepping into a new way of being, where you recognize that you and reality are not separate, that your desires, your thoughts, and your emotions are forces that shape existence itself. And once you begin to apply this, once you start shifting your own energy, breaking free from old conditioning and aligning with what you truly want, you will understand why this truth has been kept from you. You will see the world respond in ways that seem almost impossible. But the secret is out. The power is already in you. The world isn't happening to you. It's responding to you. Every moment, every encounter, every so-called coincidence is a reflection of the thoughts you've allowed to take root in your mind. This is the truth that Neville Goddard devoted his life to sharing. You are not just a participant in reality, you are its architect. Neville taught that imagination is not a mere escape, but the very fabric of creation. He insisted that what you accept as true in your inner world will, without fail, become true in your outer world. This is not wishful thinking. It is the law of consciousness, the same principle echoed in the ancient Hermetic axiom, as within, so without. Everything begins within, your fears, your desires, your expectations. And life? Life simply mirrors it all back to you. So how do you begin to co-create your reality? It starts with understanding that every thought is a seed. Most people walk through life scattering these seeds carelessly, allowing worry, doubt, and limitation to take root. Then they wonder why life feels like an endless cycle of struggle. But when you take control of the garden of your mind, when you deliberately plant the seeds of what you wish to experience, you step into your true power. Neville spoke often of the power of assumption. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, he urged. Don't just visualize it, live in it. Feel the reality of your desire as though it has already happened. When you lie in bed at night, instead of replaying the disappointments of the day, step into the world you long to create. See it, feel it, breathe in its atmosphere. If you do this consistently, the world will have no choice but to rearrange itself to match your assumption. This idea is not new. It echoes in sacred texts across history. When Jesus said, "When you pray, believe that you have received it and it will be yours," he was revealing this very law. The Bhagavad Gita speaks of unwavering faith, of holding firm to the vision within, no matter what the outer world seems to show. And ancient Taoist teachings remind us that reality is fluid, shaped by the energy we bring to it. Doubt is the greatest thief of creation. Many people will try to manifest something new, but remain enslaved by their old state of being. They declare abundance while feeling lack. They imagine love while clinging to loneliness. But the universe responds not to words, not even to fleeting thoughts, but to the deepest convictions held in the soul. This is why the assumption is key. You must shift your identity, not just your wishes. Perhaps the greatest barrier to this truth is the conditioned belief that reality is rigid, that life is happening to us rather than through us. But the moment you decide otherwise, the moment you claim your role as creator, the game changes. You no longer beg for what you desire, you embody it. And when you do, reality bends, doors open, paths clear. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. The living word. Co-creating reality is not just a theory, it is a truth that has been whispered through the ages, hidden in plain sight within the teachings of mystics, philosophers, and even ancient traditions that most have forgotten. Neville Goddard was one of the clearest voices to reveal this truth, showing that our imagination is not just a place of idle dreams, but the very force shaping the world around us. To understand this fully, we must go deeper, beyond the well-known ideas, into beliefs that are rarely spoken of, yet hold the key to transforming our lives. One such obscure belief comes from an old mystical tradition that speaks of the living word. This teaching suggests that every word spoken, every thought entertained, and every emotion felt carries the power of creation, not just metaphorically, but quite literally. It aligns closely with Neville's teaching that assumption hardens into fact. The idea is simple. What you speak, what you believe, and what you feel to be true becomes your reality. This ancient belief teaches that words are not just sounds, but living forces that set things in motion. When spoken with belief, they act like seeds planted in the unseen, growing into the circumstances of our lives. This is why ancient cultures placed great importance on the spoken word. In some traditions, people would avoid saying negative things about themselves or others because they believed it would manifest in reality. The principle was clear: to change life, one must change words. Neville echoes this, saying that if you persist in the assumption of a thing long enough, it will harden into fact. This is why affirmations, when done correctly, not just recited mindlessly but felt deeply, can shift reality in ways most never expect. Another hidden teaching comes from the idea of the mirror world, a mystical concept found in esoteric teachings that suggests the physical world is nothing more than a reflection of our inner state. This teaching goes beyond just positive thinking. It suggests that reality is like a dream responding to our consciousness. Neville spoke of this when he said that the world is pushed out. What we assume, what we believe in the depths of our being, must eventually be mirrored back to us in the external world. This is why trying to change reality by force never truly works. It is like trying to change the reflection in a mirror without changing the object in front of it. The implications of this are profound. If the world is a mirror, then to change your reality, you must change yourself. But how? One way is through revision, a technique Neville taught where you mentally rewrite past events to align with the reality you wish to create. The ancient mystical belief in the mirror world supports this idea, suggesting that the past is not fixed. It is fluid, changing as our consciousness changes. If you change your assumption about what happened, the external world begins to shift to reflect that new belief. A little-known Eastern teaching, closely linked to Neville's ideas, is the belief in thought forms. Some ancient schools of mysticism held that every thought creates an energetic blueprint that must eventually take form in the material world. These thought forms were believed to linger in the unseen until they gathered enough energy to manifest. This ties into Neville's idea that imagination creates reality. If you continuously hold on to an assumption, feeding it with emotion and belief, it eventually takes on a life of its own and must express itself in your external world. This is why Neville emphasized feeling, because feeling is the secret. It is the emotional charge behind a thought that determines whether it remains weak and unreal or takes shape in the physical world. This knowledge changes everything. If your thoughts are forming blueprints for your reality, then you are constantly creating, whether you realize it or not. The question is not whether you are creating, but what you are creating. The mystical belief in thought forms suggests that most people unknowingly create obstacles for themselves by feeding negative thoughts with emotion and belief. The moment they shift their inner world, their external world follows. This is why Neville urged his students to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, because by doing so, they are setting the conditions for that wish to materialize. But this process requires patience and persistence. Another little-known belief found in certain Hermetic teachings speaks of the law of gestation. This belief suggests that just as a seed takes time to grow into a tree, so too do our assumptions and beliefs take time to solidify into reality. Neville spoke of this as well, reminding his students that there is a natural interval of time between assumption and manifestation. Those who understand this do not become impatient. They know that as long as they persist in the new assumption, reality has no choice but to conform. Understanding these hidden teachings allows us to move with confidence in shaping our reality. If words are alive, then we must be mindful of what we say. If the world is a mirror, then we must shift our inner state. If thoughts create forms, then we must direct our imagination with purpose. If there is a gestation period, then we must trust the process. Everything begins in the unseen before it becomes seen. This is the secret the ancient mystics knew, the truth Neville revealed, and the power that lies within each of us. Those who grasp this no longer see themselves as victims of chance or fate. They understand that they are the architects of their world, sculpting reality with every assumption, every word, every feeling. And once this truth is seen, there is no going back. The world is no longer something happening to us, it is something happening through us. This is the power of co-creation, the secret hidden in plain sight, waiting for those who dare to see it. The infinite universe. One of the most compelling historical figures to explore in the context of co-creating reality is Giordano Bruno, the 16th century philosopher, mystic, and former Dominican friar who challenged the prevailing worldview of his time. Bruno's ideas about the universe, consciousness, and human potential were radical, not just because he argued that the stars were distant suns with their own planets, but because he believed that the mind itself played a role in shaping reality. Bruno was deeply influenced by Hermeticism, an ancient spiritual tradition that emphasized the interconnectedness of all things and the idea that human consciousness could influence the material world. This belief was in direct opposition to the rigid dogmas of the Catholic Church, which held that reality was fixed, predetermined, and dictated by divine authority. To Bruno, the human mind was not merely an observer of reality, it was a participant in its unfolding. He spoke of the infinite universe and an eternal intelligence that permeated all things, an idea that eerily mirrors modern discussions about the nature of consciousness and quantum physics. If thoughts and intentions could shape one's reality, as Hermetic philosophy suggested, then knowledge of this truth could empower individuals to break free from societal constraints and limitations. But such an idea was dangerous, especially to those in power. Bruno's belief in the mind's role in co-creating reality wasn't just philosophical, it was a direct challenge to the structures of control that relied on keeping people passive. His teachings implied that reality was not dictated solely by religious authorities, but could be shaped by individual will and understanding. This was unacceptable to the Catholic Church, which saw such ideas as heretical. After years of persecution, he was arrested by the Roman Inquisition, interrogated and ultimately burned at the stake in 1600, for refusing to recant his views. His execution was a warning. Certain truths about the power of the mind, the nature of reality and human potential were not meant to be widely known. To accept Bruno's teachings was to acknowledge that authority figures did not have absolute control over reality, that individuals had the ability to shape their own destiny through thought, intention, and understanding. Today, Bruno's ideas resonate with those exploring the concept of manifestation, the law of attraction, and the power of consciousness in shaping personal and collective experiences. His story serves as a reminder that knowledge of how we interact with reality has always been a threat to those who seek to control it. The truth about co-creation has been suppressed for centuries, not because it's fantasy, but because it's powerful. Control breaks now. They never wanted you to know this, not now, not ever, because the moment you understand, their control begins to break. They have spent centuries, no, millennia, shaping the world in such a way that you would never question, never wonder, never realize the truth about your own power. They needed you to believe you were small, that you were merely a passenger in this life, carried along by forces far beyond your control. But that was never the truth. The truth is, you are a creator, not in some abstract, poetic way. No, in a very real and tangible sense. Your thoughts shape reality. Your beliefs shift the world around you. The energy you put into the universe does not simply disappear. It takes form, it builds, it manifests. But if you were to truly grasp this, everything would change. You would stop relying on their systems and stop bending to their rules. You would not need their structures, their hierarchies, their carefully crafted illusions of power. And that is why they have done everything in their power to keep this knowledge from you. They started by stripping it from history. There was a time when this understanding was common knowledge, woven into the teachings of ancient civilizations. The sages of old knew that the mind was not just an observer, but a force of creation. The Hermetic masters, the Gnostic seekers, the mystics of every tradition, each held pieces of this sacred truth. They taught that reality is not something separate from you, something fixed and immovable. It bends, it shifts, it responds. But as time passed, those in power realized something terrifying. A world filled with conscious creators is a world that cannot be controlled. So they buried the teachings, they burned the books, they labeled the wise as heretics and silenced them in the flames. The knowledge that once flowed freely became hidden, locked away in secret societies, whispered in corners but never spoken in the light. The masses were given new stories, new systems, ones that placed power outside of themselves. The people were told that the divine was something distant, something unreachable, something that only the chosen few could access. And the people believed, but they did not stop there. If you were to awaken even for a moment, if you were to feel the spark of your own creative force, they needed to make sure it would not last. So they built a world around you, one designed to distract, to numb, to dull your awareness. From the moment you enter this world, they shape your mind. The schools do not teach you to question, they teach you to obey. The news does not inform you, it keeps you in fear. The entertainment does not inspire you, it keeps you distracted. Every piece of this system is built to keep you asleep, to keep you looking outward instead of inward, to keep you believing that the world happens to you rather than through you. And so, most people live their lives never knowing, never realizing that every thought, every belief, every focused intention is shaping the world around them, never seeing that the power they have been searching for has always been within them. But the truth cannot be erased forever. It lingers in the spaces between words, in the moments of silence, in the feeling that there is something more just beyond the veil. And if you have felt that pull, if you have sensed that there is something they are not telling you, then you are already beginning to wake up. There is more, so much more. And once you see it, you can never go back. The world you see today is nothing but the shadow of past thoughts. The world you will see tomorrow, that is entirely up to you. The Star of Truth. In the shadows of history, beneath the weight of forgotten stories, there are whispers of ancient knowledge, truths that were never meant to be erased. One of these truths can be found in the heart of Africa, among the Dogon people of Mali. Long before modern science mapped the stars, before telescopes reached into the void, the Dogon held a secret that defied explanation. They spoke of a hidden star, one invisible to the naked eye, circling the brightest point in the constellation of Sirius. They knew its weight, its movement, its orbit, all without any known instruments. For centuries, Western scholars dismissed their claims. How could an isolated people, untouched by modern astronomy, possess such precise knowledge? And yet, when scientists finally turned their telescopes to Sirius B, they found that the Dogon were right all along. This was not a coincidence. This was not a lucky guess. This was something else entirely, a glimpse into an understanding of the universe that the world had long forgotten. The Dogon did not see themselves as separate from the cosmos. To them, the universe was alive, interconnected, breathing. They believed that reality itself was shaped by unseen forces, by energies that flowed through all things. They spoke of knowledge passed down by beings known as the Nomo, spiritual entities, water spirits, and teachers from beyond. These beings taught the Dogon that the material world was only one layer of existence, and that beneath it lay a deeper truth. Everything is vibration, everything is energy, everything responds to consciousness. This belief was not unique to the Dogon. Across Africa, from the shamans of the Zulu to the wisdom keepers of the Akan, there was an understanding that reality was not something fixed, but something fluid, something shaped by the mind, the soul, the unseen forces that move through all things. These teachings carried the same core truth. You are not just in the world, you are of it. Your thoughts, your emotions, your spirit, they do not simply exist within you. They ripple outward. They create. They manifest. But what happens when people who understand this are conquered? What happens when their sacred knowledge is stripped from them, their traditions branded as primitive, their beliefs rewritten to fit a new narrative? This is the story of colonialism. This is the story of how entire civilizations were forced to forget their power. When the European empires carved up Africa, they did not simply take land. They took stories, they took wisdom, they took the understanding that people were more than just bodies. They were creators, connected to forces far beyond what the eye could see. Yet the knowledge was never truly lost. It survived in the songs, in the stories, in the rituals that refused to fade. It waited in the hearts of those who still remembered, those who passed it down in whispers, in dances, in symbols carved into wood and stone. And now, in a world that has tried so hard to forget, these truths are rising again. The Dogon knew something the world was never meant to understand. That reality is not set in stone, that the cosmos itself responds to those who know how to see. And if they could know the secrets of the stars without modern tools, then what else might be possible? What else has been hidden, waiting to be remembered? The unfolding of intention. You are not just a passenger in this world. You're not here to simply watch time pass, to accept whatever is placed before you as if you have no say. The truth, the one they don't want you to know, is that you are a creator. Every thought, every word, every action ripples outward, shaping the world in ways you cannot always see. Reality is not something fixed, something given. It is something being woven moment by moment, and you are holding the threads. This is not just philosophy. It is not wishful thinking. It is a truth that has been whispered in the oldest teachings, hidden in sacred texts, and encoded in myths that have survived the ages. The ancient Egyptians believed in Ma'at, the force of harmony and balance that held the universe together. But Ma'at was not something distant, something beyond reach. It was something each person had to uphold. Every decision, every act of kindness or cruelty tipped the scales. A single choice could bring order or chaos. In the East, the Taoists spoke of the Tao, the great flow of existence. To move against it was to struggle, to lose yourself in resistance. But those who understood, who aligned their will with the current of life, became like water, shaping the world effortlessly, without force. And in the stories of the Gnostics, there was always the reminder that the world was not complete. It was unfinished, waiting for those who could see beyond illusion to take part in its unfolding. You are part of this unfolding. With every intention you set and every belief you hold, you send signals into the fabric of reality. Some call this manifestation, others call it prayer, and others simply call it to cause and effect. But the name does not matter. What matters is that you have always been shaping your path, whether you knew it or not. But what happens when you are told that none of this is real? When you are conditioned to believe that life just happens to you, that your voice has no power, that your dreams are just distractions? This is how control is kept, not through chains, not through force, but through the quiet, constant whisper that tells you to doubt yourself, to accept limits that were never truly there. The first step to reclaiming your power is seeing through this illusion. The second is remembering what has always been yours. In the Bible, we are told that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. What if the Word refers not just to the divine, but to our own words? What if, by speaking and thinking with intention, we are in fact bringing things into existence? You may wonder, though, how this works in a practical sense. How do you go from simply wishing for change to actively creating it? The first step is awareness. You must begin to recognize that you are not merely reacting to life, but actively participating in its unfolding. Every moment, every decision, and every thought you have contributes to the larger picture of your life. Think about the story of the farmer who planted seeds. He didn't just hope for a harvest, he actively chose the seeds he would plant, tended to the soil, and watched over the growth of the plants. He knew that the quality of the harvest depended on the quality of the seeds he chose to plant. In the same way, your thoughts and actions are the seeds that will eventually bear fruit in your life. If you want to create a reality that reflects your true desires, you must begin to be conscious of the seeds you're planting in your mind. Every time you think about your life, your relationships, your career, your health, you are planting something. Are you planting seeds of possibility and growth, or are you planting seeds of doubt and limitation? The choice is yours. At the core of co-creating your reality is the idea of alignment. To align with your desired reality, you must first align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with what you want to experience. If you want to attract abundance, you must think and feel abundance. If you want to experience peace, you must first become peace. This is not about simply wishing for things to change, it is about embodying the very essence of what you wish to create. This idea is beautifully captured in the ancient Taoist principle of Wu Wei, which translates to effortless action. It's the practice of aligning with the flow of the universe, of allowing things to unfold naturally while still maintaining an active presence in the process. Think of it like a river. If you're paddling against the current, you'll exhaust yourself, but if you align with the flow, the journey becomes effortless. In the same way, when you align your inner world with your desired reality, the external world will follow suit. One of the biggest obstacles to co-creating reality is fear. Fear tells you that you are not enough, that you are not capable, and that change is dangerous. But fear is simply an illusion, a false narrative that you've allowed to take hold. It's like a shadow that looms over you, but it has no substance unless you feed it. To shift your reality, you must begin to change your relationship with fear. Instead of seeing it as a threat, see it as a teacher, an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your true self. The parable of the butterfly offers a powerful lesson here. Imagine a caterpillar that transforms into a butterfly. During the process, it is forced to struggle and break free from its cocoon. If someone were to intervene and help it, the butterfly would not develop the strength it needs to fly. In the same way, the challenges and struggles you face in life are not obstacles. They are the moments that strengthen your wings, preparing you for the flight toward your highest potential. Once you embrace the fact that fear is just a temporary experience, you can shift your energy toward the truth. You are capable of creating the life you desire. This isn't about ignoring fear or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about seeing it for what it is, a temporary experience that does not define your reality. You are the creator, and fear is just a passing cloud in the sky of your mind. To co-create your reality, you must also begin to trust in the process. Trust that life is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust that you are not alone in this journey. The universe, or whatever higher power you connect with, is always working with you, guiding you toward your highest good. In the same way that a seed trusts the soil to nourish it, you must trust that everything you need to create the life you desire is already within you or on its way to you. One of the most powerful ways to accelerate your co-creation process is through gratitude. When you live in a state of gratitude, you send out a signal to the universe that you are ready for more. You are essentially telling the universe, "I am open and willing to receive." It's like a farmer who, after a season of planting, thanks the land for the harvest that is about to come. In the same way, you must thank the universe for the life you are about to create. Gratitude is the soil in which your seeds of intention will grow. It is also important to let go of the need to control every outcome. Sometimes the universe has a way of delivering things in a way that you never could have imagined. When you release your tight grip on how things should unfold, you open yourself to a world of infinite possibilities. This is where the magic happens, when you trust that everything is unfolding for your highest good, even if it doesn't look the way you expected it to. You are not a passive observer in this life. You are an active participant. Every thought you think, every word you speak, and every action you take is a part of the tapestry of your reality. You are co-creating this reality, moment by moment. And the more you become aware of this power, the more you can choose to create a life that aligns with your highest desires. Today, you have the opportunity to choose who you want to be. You have the power to decide which seeds you plant and which thoughts you nurture. You have the ability to align your inner world with your outer reality. So what will you choose? Will you continue to live on autopilot, letting life happen to you? Or will you step into your power and consciously co-create the life you've always dreamed of? The choice is yours, and it is always in your hands. The truth is that you have the power to create your reality, and that power is waiting for you to claim it. The universe is ready to work with you, but it starts with your decision to trust in yourself and in the process of co-creation. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.